Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Guido Goes Off. I did promise you a special interview, and ladies and gentlemen, joining me a few days before his final match in professional wrestling, some know him as Josh Cena, some know him as the Warrior Angel of Retribution, and yet by many still, Chris Riot. Chris, welcome to the Guido Goes Off.
Hey Guido, how's it going, buddy?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
Oh, I'm good today.
Yeah, all right. Excellent. I appreciate you taking the time joining us here. I mean, we got a lot of ground to cover. I mean, you've been in the Midwest wrestling scene for how long?
Pretty close to 20 years.
Okay. Wow. So we do have a lot of ground to cover. So I guess we'll just start at the beginning. I mean, you and I have known each other for a long time. We've talked. You were one of the guys who helped break me into the business. So I could yell and scream in front of crowds, which, believe me, I am very appreciative of. What prompted you to go into the business? I mean, did you have a love of professional wrestling prior to that, or?
I have to go way back as a kid what got me in this business, and my dad was a huge wrestling fan, and I can remember sitting watching it on Monday nights, when it was cool, really cool then, watching it Saturday mornings. I think they had Saturday mornings, this was way before SmackDown, and it was just Raw, but sitting and fell in love with it. Of course, that had the Ultimate Warrior back then, Shawn Michaels, then in come the Attitude Era when I was in my teens with Stone Cold and The Rock and The Undertaker and just all them guys, and just to watch these guys battle it out, it was cool. And to be able to sit with my dad and have that bond of watching wrestling was fantastic.
And I can understand that. I mean, not with my dad. He was one of the ones, of course, quit watching that fake garbage. But like my friends and that.
That's a good jump.
Oh yeah, she's good at that. I just worry because during the other interview she jumped on me while I was on camera. That's all right. We can fix that. But as I was saying, I mean, that's one of the things that I hear a lot about wrestling making memories with families and friends and that. And as I don't know about you, but as I've gone along in this business, it's been great to see that we help families make memories. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
Oh, absolutely. I agree 100%. I mean, I've been said roughly 20 years, and I've done this just to see, families have a great time, just to watch kids' faces. I think independent wrestling is fantastic, and anybody I've talked to that even doesn't really care for, WWE or the AEW stuff, they come to a live independent show, and they almost fall in love with it. My wife's a prime example. She didn't care. She didn't watch wrestling. She had nothing to do with wrestling. We've been together for 8 years. And when I went to one of my first shows being with her, I told her, you can stay home or you can go. It's up to you. I know you don't care for wrestling. You know nothing about wrestling. She went and supported me, and on the way home, she was just like, this is amazing, and she fell in love with it. And now she can name more wrestlers than most people I know.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, my wife, she didn't really have that connection either, but but now that she goes with me to shows, and she enjoys helping out, and get into the shows as much as any fan, and that's really awesome to have that support system. To live the dream of being a pro wrestler, or in my case, a guy that yammers about pro wrestling.
The best announcers around.
Aww.
Hands down.
Oh, I appreciate. I really do appreciate that. Thank you. Um. Okay, so I know. Okay, so you grew up with your dad watching wrestling. Um. You graduated high school. Um. You enlisted in the U.S. Army. Once again, thank you for your service. And I'm sure I'm missing some steps somewhere along the way, but you you are sent to a faraway land. You come back, um, trying to figure out what to do, and then you decide to become a professional wrestler. So let's go from there.
Well, and to be honest with you, the wrestling happened even before the military.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I am shooting whoever wrote my notes.
You want to know where it started. And I'll be honest with you, this is kind of another reason why this Saturday is the moment I felt like it's all come together to be this moment. But everybody knocks the backyard wrestling scene, you know, and we all come from somewhere. But it is. That's where I came from. In fact, here in my hometown of Greenfield, where we're going to have the show this Saturday, me and a couple other guys, when I was 20 years old, we would go every Saturday west of town here, and pardon my French, but we beat the shit out of each other. And it was pure backyard wrestling. There was thumbtacks, there was barbed wire, there was fire, there was light bulbs, there was a car hood, ladders, tables, whatever. And, I mean, we would do it in front of 30 people that come out and be drinking beer and having a good time watching us. We'd have 100, 150 people with their vehicles lined around watching us do it. We'd do 45 minutes, just one match. It wasn't a real show. It wasn't anything. It was 2 or 3 guys just beating the crap out of each other. And I did that for a few years. Ended up kind of phasing out of that. I met a girl, moved to Carlinville, and the actual getting into independent wrestling was, and it's a funny story, and Frank's told this, Frank Roots told this story because it all comes around. The kind of a funny thing on his part was me and my girlfriend at the time were driving out of Carlinville, and I look over, and at this house is a wrestling ring set up, something you don't see in somebody's yard, you know. And I simply said to her, I said, "Oh, that's an actual wrestling ring. It's not a boxing ring. It was a wrestling ring." I said, "I wonder whose that is." Well, a few days later, while I was at work, she went out and talked to Frank and told him that she had a boyfriend. He was a backyard wrestler. Of course, Frank rolled his eyes. She's like, "Well, we got tapes. I'll show you tapes of him." Frank said, "Bring him out." She showed the tapes. He said, "Okay, have him come out this Saturday. I'll bring a couple guys up. We'll see what he can do." And that Saturday actually happened to be Steve Montana and the one called Wicked.
Oh, boy.
And
talk about your trial by fire.
Was beating the crap out of me.
Yeah.
And the funny part of that was my girlfriend at the time was pregnant with our baby. So when she showed up there that day to show the tapes and stuff and left, Frank's younger boys actually told their mom, who Frank was married to at the time, that Frank's pregnant girlfriend showed up to talk to him. So he was in a little bit of trouble for no reason. But it was kind of comical in the end. We laughed about it. But yeah, I got to get in the ring with Steve Montana and Wicked, and they beat the crap out of me. And then by the end of it, they said, "I think he'll do all right."
You survived.
So that's
important.
how I actually got into wrestling.
You know, I've heard a lot of stories from a lot of people, and a lot of the stories seem to involve Wicked beating the crap out of them. I don't know how that seems to work all the time, but it's.
I mean, that was kind of his thing. He was kind of the enforcer for Frank. If you could handle what he dished out, then you probably had what it took. And again, a funny story about him is when I met him that day, Frank told me the whole thing. Shake their hand, light handshake. It's a wrestler's handshake. Introduce yourself, and we'll go from there. And I walked up to Steve, shook his hand, which I actually found out that day that me and Steve were cousins.
Oh, okay.
Didn't know that, so that was kind of cool. Went to shake Wickett's hand, and all he did is snarled at me and walked away. Proceeded to beat the crap out of me. At the end of it, he shook my hand, and here 20 years later, me and him are best friends.
Yeah.
So it's a funny story that this guy didn't like me when I showed up, and now we have each other's back. We might as well be brothers.
Yeah. I mean that's the thing. I can vouch for the story of when you meet Wick and he just snarls at you, because same thing happened to me, and I still don't think he knows how to read me yet, but oh well.
Uh-oh, my wife's getting donuts. She's hungry.
Oh, that's all right. I just had my cat attack
she's
me.
Blaming the baby.
Oh, that's all right.
But yeah, so yeah, that's actually how I got started. It was before the military came about midway in. I had made a decision I wanted to join the Army, and I did that. Something popped up on your screen.
Yeah, I noticed that.
On my face.
Okay. I think we're still good. Yeah, I just clicked off some stupid thing. It's probably redundancy on the laptop. I need to get a new one. But anyway.
So yeah, I mean, I can pretty much go through my whole story. It's nothing fancy. It's nothing extravagant by any means, but yeah, I did that. It was, so let's see, I wanted to say it was, by that time it was probably 05.
Okay.
Wrestled with Frank, wrestled with a couple promotions down south, Southern Illinois, just kind of going back and forth. Then 2010 is when I actually joined the Army. 2011 is when I deployed, and I came back in 2012, stayed with the Army, and continued to wrestle with Frank and everybody else. So yeah, the Army thing was actually in between there.
Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. It wanted to update Messenger like right now.
Oh yeah, right when we're having a conversation.
Yeah, right when I'm using the program, sure. That's alright, I can fix this stuff, don't worry. Okay. Alright, we were at, you returned in 2012. You continued to wrestle while, I guess, stateside. Okay, so we're like at,
You ask whatever questions you want, Guido.
Oh, I know. No, because, okay, alright. Okay, so basically, about this time, you were getting well established. I mean, you were working with Herb at SICW. You were working with Frank at RCW. Now, your career has been pretty much linked up with Chaos. Can you tell us about when you two were paired and how that worked out for you? And
how me and Chaos got together and
Yeah.
how that worked out? Funny story about that. Obviously, Chaos has pretty much been in the same wrestling scene as long as I have. I think he came in a year, maybe 2 years after I did. We had matches against each other. We even went back and talked about this after we became Chaos and Riot. And we had matches against each other. We wrestled tag matches with each other and didn't even really realize it until later on when we went back and actually watched stuff. But the funny thing was we were both singles competitors, and Frank had went on kind of I don't know, I want to say a couple of years where he didn't really run a show, and he had finally decided to do a show, and it was supposed to be a one-off show. And this is actually the show I was talking about that Lindsay had went with me to, her first ever one. And I want to say I wrestled Wicked that night in a singles match, and Chaos had wrestled his match. Well, Frank decided he was going full bore again. It was time to start running shows, and I think 2 or 3 shows into this new run, he messages me, and at the same time messaging Chaos, and he's like, I got a great idea. I want you guys to be a tag team. It sounds fantastic. Chaos and Riot. And me and Chaos both went, nah, we don't like it. And he's like, no, I think it'll work. We're like, no, we're singles competitors. We don't tag. We're singles guys. He's like, no, that's what I want. I think it'll work. So we got together. It was like, if it's what's going to kind of give us a little bit of a push, because we were always the curtain jerkers, I guess you could say, or mid-carders. I mean, we weren't real main events unless Frank had a battle royal or something, or there wasn't enough guys, and then it was, hey, Wicked's the champ, he's going to kick your butt tonight, so you're main event. Oh, great, cool, awesome. So we started talking and realized that me and Chaos, we had so many of the similar ideas, and the way we viewed wrestling was the same. We were in it for the entertainment purpose. I mean, it wasn't in there to make money, because frankly, you're not going to make a bunch of money off independent wrestling. You're not. But there's the sure entertainment for the kids and the families, like we talked before, and we just started racking each other's brains and realized, man, we could be hilarious with this. We could just be 2 goofballs that make fun of anything and everybody, including ourselves, and this could just be fun. And we started doing it, and it actually blew up bigger than we anticipated. People were coming, just because watching our videos. Obviously, the Douglas O'Shea video with Trash Bag Pants and Lucky Charms, all the way to Playboy in a Diaper, which was pretty entertaining. And one of these days, and I'm pretty sure we have it somewhere, and we've never really released it, there is quite a few outtakes of promos that just, you almost fear putting them on the internet, but then you almost, one of these days people have to witness this.
Oh, yeah.
But,
oh, yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't have changed that decision. Like I said, we told Frank no, but it's probably one of the best decisions he ever made. We've become, again, brothers. Me and Chaos are best friends. I wouldn't have had it anyway. He's always had my back. I've always had his. And he'll be my friend for life.
Yeah. And, I mean, on that side, it's been great to get to know the both of you. I know you guys were, like I said, you've been tag team champions everywhere except IEW. But, you've been in the thick of things still, but going back a little bit. Okay. You were multiple time RCW Tag Team Champion with Chaos. I'm trying to figure this out, because the first time I saw you guys, you were the Tag Team Champions. I think you had lost the titles in the first RCW show in Quincy to Vicious and Delicious, which was Hawk Elliott and the late great Marcus Mansfield. And if I'm not mistaken, Chaos broke his arm in that match.
I believe you're right. Yes, absolutely.
That's why I believe he hates Quincy, because he always seems to get hurt here. But again, yeah, But this is interesting enough where I come into play in this. You start, I talk to Frank. Somehow he sees my YouTube channel. He invites me to talk to people at MallCon. I talk to you wearing a T-Rex head. Then I'm cutting interviews with everybody else the next day while you're wrestling. And for some reason, I mean, you've been a master of disguise, if you will. I mean, like I said, once you mentioned earlier, you wrestled as Josh Cena. And right here on the Guido Goes Off, if you go through it, you can see this man wrestling as Deadpool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which, honest to God, was one of my favorite things ever to kind of sort of be a part of. Because I was just filming it for content. But it was a lot of fun to watch. If I'm not mistaken.
It was a lot of fun to do, except for, I think, just the humidity that day was horrible.
Oh, yeah.
And as thin as that suit was, it didn't really breathe.
No, I'm sure it did not. But yeah. But then, like I said, I hadn't quite got picked up by Frank yet. But then you and Chaos kind of branched off, and you started getting your main event push at about this time. I want to say it was about 2008 or 2018. I want to say.
I think you're right.
2017, 2018. It's because I'm sitting there thinking to myself, my God, I've been in the business for a while. But and this was a time that, well, someone else kind of took over. A certain warrior angel of retribution. So I have to ask, what brought out War?
War was it was a mixture of just ideas. Obviously, like you said, I did some goofy gimmicks. When I first came in, I carried the name, and we'll backtrack a little bit here, but when I first came in, I carried the same name that I wrestled in the backyard as, which was Chris Draven. Okay. That was my first official wrestling name, Chris Draven.
Okay.
I did that for a little bit. The whole Josh Cena thing, that was actually a joke that somehow worked for a little bit. It's still a joke now, but for some reason there was a conversation and someone pointed out then, not so much now, but then, that I could have been mistaken for a relative of John Cena's. And Frank, being Frank, right there, went, aha, I have an idea. And I went, oh no. You are Josh Cena. I said, okay, whatever. At least I don't have to buy real wrestling gear right now, because all I need is a pair of shorts and a couple of jerseys. And we did it. Kids loved it. It was fun. You'd be surprised. I actually got phone numbers from people saying when John was in town, if I would give them a call so they could talk to him. That's how believable it was. I carried that for a little bit, then decided I needed to do something different. That was getting old. Chris Riot was born. Wrestled as Chris Riot for years, obviously still all the way up to this point. The War came in again. It was multiple ideas, but I wanted something serious. I wanted to almost hone and bring out the whole military aspect and stuff that I had learned, and that attitude of I will not quit, I will not stop. Besides being funny like I was with Chris Riot, you know, the jokes and the good times and just being goofy, now I have this persona of a guy that is serious, and you're going to have to keep him, you knock him down, keep him down, put him in a casket, something before he's going to stop. That's kind of what I learned being in the military was you're never done until you're done. Until you can physically not move anymore. So the idea of the War came in, and you know, the War paint, which a lot of people mock because of the Bauer thing, which is what it is. I don't care.
No, totally different thing. Totally different thing.
Someone different, and it's a part of me, and it always will be a part of me. Uh, that's somebody who I am, because I like to be funny and I like to joke and I like to do all that good stuff, and I have a great time with it. But then there's the part of me, or back in the military days, especially being a year overseas, that joking and having a good time was slim to none. You had to be on point. You had to be aware. You had to have a 360 state of mind of your surroundings around you at all times. And it was fun. And it was fun bringing him into, because obviously, if you remember the storyline, which you came in about the time that was all fizzling in.
Well, I mean,
nobody knew who War was.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, my first gig as a commentator, I think was actually it was your first defense in Quincy of the RCW heavyweight title. If I'm not mistaken, it was a 2 out of 3 falls between you and Pretty Boy Floyd.
Yep.
I feel bad to this day. I had to skip out on the night you won the title because the show was running long. I had to get to work, which was literally right across the street from the venue. And I'd still kick myself to this day for not saying, hey, can I come in an hour later? But it still was, but like I said, I still hadn't gone behind the curtain yet. I hadn't seen the Wizard yet. I mean, I was sitting next to the Wizard because we had Artists United working with us at the time. Great folks. Go to their YouTube channel. I mean, they've grown by leaps and bounds. I've done a couple more spots with them. Great group of people to work with. We broadcast the show live on YouTube. Oh no, it was on Facebook Live. And I'm sitting there for the first time in my life. I've got a mic right in front of me, picking up everything, and I'm like, I had better not screw this up. And yes, I did screw it up, but I screwed up early, so that was the important part. But
we're all about mistakes, Guido.
Yes.
Like I said, you're still one of the best around.
Yes,
sure.
Which to this day is why I don't touch a ring bell. I've become that's big. Everybody's got superstitions. My superstition is I don't touch the ring bell.
There you go.
I mean, technically, I was ringing the bell at a CHWA show, but it wasn't a ring bell. All we had was 2 aluminum bats at that night. But so I still haven't touched a ring bell in about almost 5 years in the business. So But getting back to that, the war character, getting you so much traction, and then seeing how the fans that were with you still, and that's what I'm sitting there. That's when I'm really like, this is fun. I finally found out what I've always wanted to do with my life. So once again, this is where I thank you as one of the guys who's just kind of like, I guess he's all right. Come on in.
No, I mean, you and The Miz, I think you guys have both been great additions to the independent scene, period. I mean, like I said, talking to you, picking your brain, just you're a great guy, period. And you are willing to go beyond what you even need to do to make sure a show is ran correctly. Man, like I said, I've seen a lot of people come and go. It's been an honor knowing you, and I'm glad that you came into this. And hey, who else better than Guido to introduce war? No one will ever do it better.
And to be I mean, we're going to go farther with this interview, but before we go any further, I want to say that no, the honor is mine to have called some of your greatest matches, and we'll have the honor to call your last match. But we will be getting into that and a little more after this break. Ladies and gentlemen, we're taking a break from this episode to let you know where you can see the Guido live. Illinois Elite Wrestling will be in Greenfield, Illinois at the Overtime Bar and Grill on May 21st, presenting their Frontline show. This show will start at 5 p.m. Tickets are $5 for ages 6 and up. Military veterans and active duty can get in free with valid military ID. Make sure to bring your chairs as seating will be limited for this event. Then I return to Cottage Hills for CHWA presenting May Day, May 29th at 127 West MacArthur Drive in Cottage Hills, Illinois. Tickets are $10 for adults, $5 for kids. Doors open at 3, show starts again at 3:30-ish. And then, Illinois Elite Wrestling makes its triumphant return to Granite City at the Tri-City Columbus home for Torn in 2. This is June 4th at 6 p.m. Advance tickets are available at IllinoisEliteWrestling.ticketleap.com. $10 for adults 17 and over. 6 to 16 years olds, get in for $5. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Guido Goes Off. We are back with Chris Riot. Who's going to have his final match in pro wrestling this Saturday night in Greenfield, Illinois at the Overtime Sports Bar and Grill. Wait, is it the Overtime or just Overtime?
It's just Overtime.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Overtime Bar and Grill in Greenfield, Illinois this Saturday night. Doors open at 4, show starts at 5. Bring your chairs because limited seating is going to be available. And $5 for anyone's age 6 and up. And with a veteran here, if you are active duty or a military veteran, you get in free with your valid military ID. I feel that's pretty important to mention to folks. So I think we're at the point. You went all the way from curtain jerking. 2 mid-card tag team with Chaos and Riot, 2 your run as RCW champion as War. I think now we're at the point we can kind of start talking about Illinois Elite Wrestling. How'd your involvement come about?
How's what? Say it again.
How did you get involved with Illinois Elite Wrestling?
It was just kind of a thing where me, obviously it's no secret to anybody, nothing is anymore, but me, Chaos, Alan, and Douglas O'Shea all sat down. We wanted to bring another organization. We had ideas that we had taken from being with previous organizations and ideas of stuff we wanted to keep going or change for us. Sat down, brainchild, threw a bunch of names out there, a bunch of different ideas out there. Illinois Elite Wrestling was the one we stuck with. We got a backer pretty much, a friend of Alan's to come in and kind of help us out to get us rolling. Went out, bought a ring, brand new ring, and just started plugging shows. Unfortunately with us, when we started, COVID hit. We got a 1 show in September, which if everybody remembers was kind of a joke because we were supposed to have it in the parking lot of one place. There was mixed communications between us, the building owner of that place, and the people that are actually in that place running it. So we actually moved it over to the backers thing and had a free show for everybody.
Yeah.
We promised a show and we had a show.
Yeah, exactly. That's, to be honest, that's one of my favorite memories in pro wrestling. Like, of all the things. Because we proved, 1, we're going to put on a show no matter what. 2, I don't need a mic to do my job. And that, regardless, Illinois Lee Wrestling can put on as great a show as anybody. With using a car sound. I believe it was your SUV sound system to play entrance music.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We did a nice little old school backyard show in a real wrestling ring.
Yeah.
And it worked.
It worked. And like I said, that was during COVID, and now at the point every time we're in that area, the Pontoon Beach, Granite City area, we can pack a place, as we've done several times in Granite City. At the Tri-City Columbus House, which another show coming up June 4th, as you saw in our break. And so I know, like I said, you've been through it as a wrestler, going through different organizations. Now here you are, as a booker, as somebody responsible for making sure the show. My apologies. Making sure the show runs right, runs smooth. Everybody's there. Everybody's ready. Things are taken care of. Okay, my first question for this is going to be, had you done this before? And the second question is, was it harder than you thought it was going to be? Or was it as hard as you thought it was going to be?
And your first question was, have I done this before?
Yes.
Let's be honest. When we were with RCW, me and Chaos, we helped with a lot of stuff. We weren't really too much into the decision making like we are with IEW. We helped guide the locker room. We threw out ideas. Obviously, Frank was the final decision maker. But we tried to be his right and left hand man. If something needed to be done, something needed to be said, direction needed to be pointed to whoever, and we were usually the ones to point fingers, which was fun and ended up being bad in some circumstances. But with IEW, yeah, it's pretty much all on us. But the one thing about that is having the four of us. We agreed in the beginning. We all made decisions together. Everybody knew what was going on, but we kind of pieced the pie out to each other. Doug does a lot of phone calls, trying to book guys, get guys in. Alan is more of a getting shows lined up, because he's right down there in the Granite City area, so it's easy for him to get there. Where I was in Jacksonville, and the shows we've done in Jacksonville, that was something I did. Chaos has been great about talking to people. And then once it comes show day, it's really on me and Chaos to get everything lined out, matches lined out, making sure things are working, because obviously you have circumstances where somebody doesn't show because of a family circumstance or work or stuff or whatever. So putting them pieces together is tough. It was easier with RCW because we only had a little bit to do. IEW, it's been hard and it's been a headache, and we've definitely had our hiccups. We've had our moments. We have people that love coming and working with us. Obviously, you have people that don't want to work for us. Based on past stuff, based on things like this, it is what it is. It's the nature of the business. But I think, personally, we have ran it the best we can. We've put in some of the best decisions, trying to make the best show possible. Like I said, it started off slow for us. Even in Granite City, we'd have some decent crowds, okay crowds, and now you're sitting at packed houses with standing crowds. And I think we put great talent. We've always decided to try to bring at least a new face in every show, if not a couple. It's just one of them things that we've learned learned from our mistakes, and we're still making mistakes, but hey, it's the nature of the business.
I mean, and that's the thing. IEW's only been around, a couple years, and like I said, that first half of a year's was COVID. Like, nobody was running shows.
Absolutely, yeah. And like I said, we did the one show in September, and we guaranteed the show. We guaranteed the show. It was an unfortunate circumstance. It happened. But we didn't let everybody leave. And we gave anybody who paid money, we either gave them their money back, and on top of that, we gave everybody their bracelets to get them free for the next show. And, I mean, it was a blast. It was fun. And that's the part that I love the most, is because we turned around and turned what could have been a negative. We could have just shut the whole show down, packed the ring up, everybody went home. But we didn't. And people stayed, and people had a blast, and we had a blast. And it just turned out to be great. And then we went a few months because, obviously, like I said, nobody was running shows. On top of it, it was hard to get into a building. And they even if you could get into a building at the time, they weren't allowing max capacity. So was it worth trying to rent a building for, whatever amount of money and only able to get half capacity? So then you're in that tie of, well, we don't want to, because one thing we've decided was we're not going to try to skyrocket prices. We're not that. We're not in it to make millions. You can't do it. And we wanted to make it affordable for families and all that. So we're not going to jack the price up just to get a show in, just to have 100 people come into a show and make them pay a ridiculous amount of money. So we had to play what we did, and it started off slow. But, I mean, look at this now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, it wasn't just IEW. Everyone was in that boat.
Absolutely.
As you know, I work with several promotions, and like I said, that was everybody's problem. Can only let 50 people into a building, and some buildings they want to raise their prices to make the money up that they lost because they couldn't rent their buildings out because of COVID. But that's the thing is, now this Midwest West wrestling scene has finally gotten back on its feet. Now, I'm going to be honest, I think it's better than ever right now. And IEW right in the thick of things.
I agree. I mean, I obviously I don't have social media or anything, but just from the little bits and stuff I see from talking with the guys and stuff, it seems like everything's just killing it, and good for everybody. I mean, good for everybody to be able to get out there and, as whatever organization you're with, promotion, all that. Good for you for being able to put on shows. I hope everybody's drawing. That's great for the business all around. Some people don't see it. Everybody always sees this competition thing. And, you run into the thing where shows are booked on the same night. It happens. But the thing is, if you keep feeding these people wrestling, they keep coming. It doesn't matter. They might be at CHWA one weekend and IEW next weekend, and we're all winning. I mean, we're all winning. And the fans are winning the most because they're getting to go out and watch something they love every weekend if they want to.
Exactly. And I think that goes, from the indie scene all the way up to the big leagues, to WWE, AEW, promotions like that. Because of competition, the real people who win is the fans.
Absolutely.
Because it makes, there's wrestling for everyone. No matter what type of wrestling you like, no matter what kind of wrestlers you like, there's something for everybody nowadays. But above all else, the goal is to entertain the fans. And like I said, the fans win in this because right now, I'm not going to lie, if you want to see a wrestling show every weekend, that option's there nowadays. And I think the fans can't be happier. I know I can be happier. So unfortunately, we've come to the end of the road, so to speak. If you don't want to answer this question, you do not have to. As we've said before, Saturday is your last pro wrestling match. What has prompted this decision?
Say that again? I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's my phone, not you. It's me.
Okay. What has made this decision? Like I was mentioning, this Saturday is your last match in pro wrestling, not just in Illinois Elite Wrestling, but in pro wrestling as a whole. You're hanging it up. You're putting away the paint. What if you don't want to answer? And as I said before, if you do not want to answer this question, you don't have to. But what has made you say?
I have no problem answering.
Okay.
In fact, I'll be 100% with you. It's the one question everybody. I mean, I've had, because I have coworkers that come to our shows, and when the announcement was waved, they're like, "Wait a second, we just started watching you and watching this. What's going on?" It's a question I know is going to come. It is what it is. It's the nature of the beast with what's going to happen. There's a lot of things. The main thing really is my family. I got two 16-year-old girls that are growing up. In fact, I got to go, well, I didn't go, but I got to see them for the first time going to prom. And to see them now, they've always been my biggest fans. And to see them all dressed up, I've seen my little girls turn into young women. And the thing of them, they're in sports. I got all these things going on. Obviously, I got a 2-year-old too that's getting more active with stuff. I don't want to necessarily be tied down to 1 or 2 weekend Saturdays where I have to be like, well, I got to be at that show. I got to be at that show. And I've never, if it's a super important thing, I miss shows. It is what it is. But they also know, well, Dad's got a show, and they try to come. But it's time for me to really, really, really be their biggest fan and not have to have the wrestling thing. Oh, well, we got wrestling on Saturday night. We got wrestling this Saturday, and make that even a thing. Family's the main thing. I know one thing, and I was going to say this because, like I said, this question has went through my head many of times because I knew it was going to be asked. But guys joke with me. I've had people ask me, "You're just getting old." Yeah, I'm getting old. We're all getting old. But that has nothing to do with this decision. I still feel like I can get in that ring, and I can give you a great 15 minutes. I can give you a great 30 minutes. I can fit on an hour-long match if you want me to. I have no problem. Does it take me a little bit longer to recover from the matches? Absolutely. I can remember in my 20s wrestling on a Saturday night, playing semi-pro football on a Sunday, and going to work on construction on a Monday, and I felt just fine. I probably wouldn't be able to do that now. Family is the first thing. The next thing really is, and I mean this with no ill will or anything, some of the drama that's behind the scenes is just, it's gotten old. And I've caused drama in my years. I'm not a saint by any means. I've had my fair share of mistakes. I've made my fair share of mistakes. But again, I've made my mistakes and I've learned from them. I'm just to the point now too that all that drama, I'm too old for it. It's unnecessary, period. But in the same, I don't want to deal with it. Again, I have no bad blood towards anybody. Everybody has their own decisions. Everybody lives their own life. They can do what they want. They can say what they want. It doesn't affect me personally. It's just something I don't want to have to deal with when I don't have to deal with it. Those two things are really in that decision. Will I still somewhat be behind the scenes? Yeah, I mean, like I said, IEW's my baby. But as far was really dealing with a lot of the stuff, getting in the ring, doing that. It's just time. It's time. I mean, I can make decisions and not be at a show. Or if it's one of the weekends where I don't have anything going on, I'll go down to the show. I'll help do stuff, but I don't have to be there to do it. It's a big thing.
Yeah, and I can completely understand that. I mean, as far as as far as family, I completely understand. Our families come first. Our responsibilities comes first. You know, like you mentioned earlier in this interview, we're not making a lot of money doing this. In fact, if we're making any money, we're one of the lucky ones.
I didn't tell you last time I made $1.
Yeah, I don't think I have. I mean, that's the thing. A lot of us do this, and a lot of us are, go in the hole doing this. And, there just comes a time, like I said, unfortunately, then there's the old adage, father time is undefeated. Where there just comes a time when our bodies, y'all's bodies, I don't wrestle, I can speak for days. I could be doing this for the next 50 years probably still. But the toll it takes on your body, the sacrifices that are made to do it, and someone asked me someone asked me one time, how do you make money being a pro wrestler? And I told them, I actually researched this one time. There's 300,000 people on Facebook alone in the U.S. and Canada alone that list professional wrestler as an occupation. And how many people are on WWE's roster? Now I think it's down to maybe 100.
Yeah.
AEW, their consistent roster, maybe 100. It's so hard to get to that level as a professional wrestler. And if you take 1,000 people, maybe even 5,000 people, only one's going to make it. It sucks that there's a lot of people whose dreams will never come true, but unfortunately, it's the nature of the business. So much has to come together in the right order, in the right steps. I think in order to do it, the odds are easier for a meteor to fly under a ladder and break a mirror on Friday the 13th.
You're probably right.
Like I said, so many things have to line up. And like I said, for a lot of people that doesn't happen, unfortunately. But for that short time, they're affecting lives. You have affected lives. So many lives. Mine included. And I think this next question, if you had the chance to do it all again, would you?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. No, I mean, again, this hasn't been for money, obviously. I love this business. I love doing it. I love the entertainment. I actually just told Lindsay here a few weeks ago. I said the crazy thing about thinking about it was I played football in high school. I played 6 or 7 years of semi-pro ball. I never ever thought I would fall in love with anything more than I love football. Wrestling has surpassed that. Like I say, going back and watching it with my dad and just loving it, watching it, seeing these guys do their things, and gladiators go to battle all the way up to being able to do it myself. And even adding on to that thing, one of my most memorable moments of wrestling was when my dad was still alive. He was my biggest fan. When I went out for that little training session with Steve and Wicked, my dad and mom came out there. They just wanted to come see, and my dad just watched the backyard stuff here in Greenfield. They lived in Carmenville at the time. They would drive over and be two of the 50 to 100, 150 people sitting out on a vehicle watching. My dad he loved it. He helped us when RCW was going and I first started it. I can remember him being the security guy, sitting around. He was the lights guy. I remember one night in Carmenville at the old South School, getting ready to do a show, and I don't know if something happened with the sound equipment, which we didn't have anything what we have with IEW and all that with what Alan has. It was basically two big speakers, CD player, and that's what he played. Everybody used CDs then. You weren't downloading stuff then. I'm old. I get it.
I'm in that club too. Don't feel bad.
But my dad, when something happened with whatever we were going to use, my dad ran home and got his surround sound stuff and brought it to the show so we had music to play. And it was just cool. And that's one reason why I would do it again, because up until the day he passed, he was my biggest fan. And he loved, no matter if I was Chris Raven, Josh Cena, he got to see the little early years of Chris Riot. It was awesome. And then, with my girls, they love wrestling. Getting to see them, and it's cool. They go around and like, oh, especially because Angel lives in Litchfield. We were doing so many shows over there. Her dad was the wrestler. Her dad was Chris Riot. It was cool because that's how they see me. They see me as this larger than life guy. I was a cool dad because I did something no other dads did. Not very many dads did. Another big thing, another memory that I'll take with me, and you keep giving my kudos for being what they call a hero and serving the army and stuff. But Steven is one of the most amazing kids I've ever met. He will always have a special place in my heart. It was kind of cool to find out that when he was going through his stuff, he had these wishes, to meet two wrestlers, and it happened to be me and Chaos. And that to me was worth every match I've ever done, the entertainment value of it, and sitting, with the kids and the families and stuff, and be able to bring him into the ring that show that weekend and celebrate him and have everybody around the ring and clapping for him and doing everything for him. And to see him now and how far he's come, that little boy is a hero. And he's mine. And, I have pictures of, I have a newspaper clipping, in fact, framed from the show that me and Chaos brought him in, because it had an article in the paper with it. He gave me and Chaos both. It's a picture of me and Chaos and him, and then there's a picture of just me and him, or Warren him, however you want to say it, in a glass frame, and it's on my wall. Would I do this again? I know I'm rambling. Would I do this again? Hands down, 100%, yes.
You have every right to ramble, believe me.
I wish I wouldn't have separated both my shoulders. I wouldn't do that again.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah.
But you take the good with the bad.
Yeah. I mean, it's not gonna, there's gonna be the bad stuff. There's gonna be the injuries, the bumps, the bruises, I mean, heck, even I've had a few, getting beat up by PYT and getting my head shaved, That's on the fence. That, like I said, it's in theory, in essence, they've actually done me a favor. So Okay. You know what? I think we're gonna get into some happier stuff before we close out. Um.
Okay.
Okay. This is gonna be like the quick answers. This is kind of like a rapid fire. Um. Favorite opponent.
Say it again. Again, I got closer so I could hear you.
Okay. Who's your favorite opponent?
Favorite opponent? Ooh, I'll have to go with Playboy. We had some great battles multiple times.
Okay. Least favorite.
Are we basing this on like just pure matches or just people we don't? Yeah. How we basing?
Let's go with matches. Let's go with matches.
Matches? Oh man.
Because honestly, if we went into least favorite people, this could probably be a whole nother episode.
Yeah, you're right. Man, I can't really say I've had a bad opponent. Everybody I've pretty much wrestled has been pretty good. I don't think I have a least favorite opponent, to be honest with you. I really don't.
Okay.
I don't think I have somebody I could name.
All right. Let's move on to the next one. Favorite town that you've wrestled in.
Favorite what?
Favorite town you've wrestled in.
Favorite town? Ooh. You know what? I think of all the shows I've done in all my years, nothing better than Quincy.
I will take that.
Them packed houses, them crowds. It was larger than life.
Yeah. Here's hoping sometime.
Hearing 100-something people sing "Zombie," it's nice.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully that'll happen again. I don't know, maybe, if, when, I don't know. But okay. If you had made it, if you had gotten to the big time, dream match.
Dream match. Ooh. Well, I'll put it out there. If I would have made it in my early years, I would have loved to face somebody like The Rock, just for the sheer entertainment value.
Are you talking to someone like The Rock or The Rock? Because this is your dream. Okay, all right.
Yeah, The Rock. I've been more than happy to wrestle with The Rock. Later down the road, and I see it, and I've seen it many times. Lord versus the Demon.
Ooh, yeah. I think a lot of people were picturing that in their heads. I would have paid money to see that, and I probably would have given away a cat to call it. Okay, favorite road trip, buddy.
Favorite what?
I'm sure you've done road trips with other wrestlers.
Oh, favorite road trips. Again, I apologize. It's my phone. This speaker sucks. Riding around with either Wicked or Chaos. I mean, usually it was a ball one way or the other. We were laughing, just the jokes. But those two, hanging out with them, riding with them, I wouldn't have it any other way. I'd go from East Coast to West Coast with either one of them guys.
Okay. You never felt okay. This might be an inside joke for the Midwest wrestling scene. You never fell asleep in front of Beast, did you?
Never what?
You never fell asleep in front of Beast, did you?
No.
Just thought I'd ask. Let's see here. I don't know, another quick one. Some of these are hard to figure out. Who would have been your personal, other than Chaos, because I know you and Chaos work so well together. If you had to pick another partner.
Ooh, I think I'd have to go. I'd go with Wicked. I
You know, I'm picturing this in my head as you're talking about it. I'm thinking to myself, oh. But that's the thing. I mean, yeah, we're talking about this, going through all this stuff, and I'm talking, we talk about the matches that you've had that I've called. They've been a lot of fun. There's other times we've hung out, which has been a lot of fun. Actually, hanging out once at Casa de Riot, petting your kitten as it fell asleep in my arms while we're talking about setting up matches that, and just getting to know you, and that, like I said, it's been a great honor for me, and like you are just one of the many people I owe a thank you to, for welcoming into this business, dealing with my crazy ass, and realizing that despite my crazy ass, I would like to believe I know what I'm talking about, and I've gotten the chance to prove it in many, many opportunities. So once again, a big thank you to you, Chris. It has been an honor to know you. It's been an honor to work with you. I guess once again we're gonna.
Again, the honor's mine. I'm glad that you came into this whole business with us. It's been fun. You're fantastic in everything you do. I'm glad we don't have to listen to Guido.
Oh God! Guido. Oh no!
And hey,
no!
I'm guilty of starting some crazy stuff. Stuff like meatloaf and things like that. But, that was just horrible, and I feel sorry for you. But
that's all right. That's all right. Hey,
you're fantastic, man. You'll always be a friend. We got each other's phone number. It's not. And again, I almost feel like we're talking about my funeral coming up. But
no, God, no.
I'm still gonna be around here and there, but I think we'd more be said that who knows if we'll ever hear Guido yell war again.
There is a line that has been used so many times in the business. Never say never.
Absolutely.
And so this may be the last match of Chris Riot's career for a while. We don't. Who knows? That's the thing. It's. But for now, your family needs you more, and we all have to be we all have to be responsible. No one's going to fault you for picking your family and those responsibilities over wrestling. Nobody's going to fault you for that, and if they do, to heck with them. Exactly. Look, I'm trying to keep this so I don't have to put the disclaimer on this show, okay? But once again, this Saturday, May 21st, at Overtime Bar and Grill. No, it's just south of Greenfield, actually, right? It's not actually in Greenfield, just south of Greenfield?
It's about 2 miles south of Greenfield.
Okay.
If you're coming south, you'll see it before you see Greenfield.
Okay.
On your right.
All right. And like I said, be the Overtime Bar and Grill. I hear the food's amazing there.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
And we're going to be there right at prime dinner time.
Oh, I can't call a match with a mouthful of food, right?
Well, you can try.
Oh no, okay, let me try that again. I shouldn't call a match with a mouthful of food.
There you go.
I think I might have. There was that because I was remembering that Augusta show, when Zamiz's mom brought us maid rights. I just tossed it out. I get one too, and she brought us both maid rights. I'm like, thanks. I was joking, but thanks. Okay, to be honest, to the fine folks in Augusta, that was a good maid right. So, so again, Overtime Bar and Grill. The gates are going to open at 4. The show starts at 5. Tickets are only available at the door, but it's $5 for ages 6 on up. So, of course, like every other IEW show, kids 5 and under get in free. And if you're active duty or a veteran, if you have your valid military ID with you, you will get in free as well. But make sure to bring your lawn chairs, because there's limited seating, and just in case, I'm bringing my chairs too. So, it should be a great show, which of course will culminate with the last match of Chris Riot. Question mark. Like I said, who knows? Wrestling's crazy. We've seen weirder things happen.
Yep.
But it, like I said, it will be. You know, no one's mentioned who your mystery opponent or who your opponent's going to be. It's been this big mystery. I'm sure even if you know, you're not going to tell me. So if you want to see who it's against, you got to be at the Overtime Bar and Grill in Greenfield this Saturday.
Yep. I don't really know. I have options. I've heard we've been taking some phone calls, but I guess I'll find out when everybody else finds out.
Okay. Like I said, this should shape up to be a great show. So I hope to see everyone that's watching this there in Greenfield, May 21st, this Saturday. And if you want to see us in Granite City again, we have a show coming up on June 4th. If you want to get your advance tickets for that, go to IllinoisEliteWrestling.ticketleap.com for tickets to that one. And, all right, well, as we wrap this up, anything you want to say? Be closing.
And I thank you. Thanks for having me on. Anybody watching, again, this has been a great 20 years. To all the fans, thank you for whether you supported me or you didn't. That's the whole reason of doing this. I've had a blast. I really have. I'm sure I'm going to have a huge spiel that night to talk about. I hope I see a lot of people there, not just for me, but for the show. Again, I wouldn't change this. I wouldn't change anything. Maybe not do Josh Cena. Maybe. But seriously, thank you guys. Thank everybody. I look forward to seeing you guys there.
All right. Once again, Chris Riot. It's sad because this is your first. Well, okay, technically it's not your first appearance on the show because I've got several of your matches are on this channel. So if you want to go back and watch some career highlights of Chris Riot and War, here on this fabulous YouTube channel. So but this is your first Oh no, it's not even your first interview. Good Lord.
Honestly, I think I've been on once at least.
You've been interviewed at least twice.
I think Chaos is the one that's hard to get a hold of.
But I mean, it's doing more interviews. Getting more, bringing more exposure to the Midwest wrestling scene. It's been a great thing for me to do with this platform. This went from. Me and my friend Mike complaining about wrestling like everybody else on YouTube, it seems, to being able to use this channel to break into the business, and to be on the other side of the barricade. We talk about, guys like yourselves living dreams, I never thought in my wildest dreams this would happen, and that would be the path to take. Because when I was thinking about getting into wrestling, this platform didn't exist. So,
Yeah.
but like I said, I owe you a debt of gratitude for that. I mean, you've gone through, you've dealt with the initial craziness. You weathered the storm, and you're like, yeah, this guy's all right.
You're a good guy, man.
I appreciate that. Thank you. But yeah, so unfortunately, probably your final appearance on the Guido goes off. And once again, we hope to see you in Greenfield this Saturday, May 21st. First bell's at 5 o'clock. Bring your lawn chairs and join us at Overtime Bar and Grill. So, with that being said, for Chris Riot, I am the Guido, and I think we're done here.